Trying to get kids to go to bed. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gemini Twin Ascension. Couple things, you can see through the title. I'm going to go ahead and address the song that popped up first as I was setting up for the live. The link to the song is in the down bar, and it is so appropriate. The lyrics for the divine feminine, divine masculine, dynamic. The part that popped into my head, and I wrote it down to make sure that I looked up what I was hearing, and I know it's a couple of different artists have sang it, but the one when I searched it, this is the one that I linked, is the one that popped up. But the lyrics go, "It feels like home to me. It feels like I'm all the way back where I come from," and it just when it popped in, and then I was reading the lyrics, and it just personally for me it really hits on a lot of different levels. The something in your eyes makes me want to lose myself. In your arms, something in your voice. I mean, there's so much. It's a perfect description of when I think about my own twin on how I feel. It's you. Okay. I love it, but it really, I've been a little irritated with him past couple of days, but it wasn't just with him, it was with the other things that I'll get into in just a second. So for that to come through, from him, knowing that I was fixing to set up to do this, it gave me a little bit of a, you can't tell, but I can feel it. I've got long sleeves on, it's a little chilly in here, but it just hit the way it's not, the chilly is not from, being cold in here. I've kind of acclimated to the temperature in here, and then it just all over body waves. He's like, "Yeah, babe, I'm here. We're home. We're each other's home." And that's not the first song, pertaining to home that personally has come up for me. It was sometime last year. It's a Three Doors Down song, and it's called "Your Arms Feel Like Home." And it popped up in my YouTube feed on my personal YouTube. And for a song like that to pop up, considering, the only songs I really listened to at the time on there were country songs, for a Three Doors Down song to pop up was, logically not explainable, how it is. Angel baby, hi Khaleesi, pretty girl, kitty. But, there's several songs like that, of talking about home that really, really resonate with me, especially because from the moment I started talking to my twin, there was just this real familiarity to him that I couldn't explain. It's just the more we talk, the more thing we have in common. And even about 2 weeks ago, we were talking, and he was talking about how he was wanting to get an RV, and he was wanting a boat and a jet ski, and that's a lot of the things that I really like to do. And I was telling him, well, my dad has an RV, and he was asking me about the gas mileage on them, which gas mileage, honestly, on an RV, especially the one the size my dad has, is horrendous. But he's like, well, I really want to do, stuff like that, to be able to do stuff like that. And it reminded me of this summer how I had went down to Kentucky Lake with my dad, well, with the family. And while I was down there, I was talking to him about it, how I told him, I was like, I really think you'd really like it down here. And he's like, well, anywhere I'm with you, he's going to love it. I was like, I said, not just because you're here with me. I just, I know the certain things that you like, and it is absolutely, Kentucky Lake, if you've never been down there, it's absolutely, it's a blast to go down there, especially be out on the water in the summer. I'm a Gemini air sign, but I am a water baby. Quite literally. My mom was I was born the Tuesday after Labor Day weekend, and that Monday, my mom was out on a boat on the river, you know, pregnant with me, and bless her heart, she was sunburned when she gave birth to me. So, you know, I've been on or around water off and on most of my life. I feel so comfortable on a boat, which honestly is a little bit of a contradiction because being underwater makes me nervous. I cannot watch movies, TV shows, anything where somebody's trapped underwater. It gives me a real bad anxiety, panic attacks, and it comes from past life ties, from a couple of different lives, honestly. Spanish Inquisition, I was waterboarded as a heretic. And then the Atlantis life, I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot about that life, but I mean, if you know the history behind Atlantis, you know, it sank. But I don't like being underwater. But you know, being on a boat, being in water, you know, swimming and everything, I don't have a problem with. But he was, you know, he was talking about things like that, and the familiarity, the things that really we do have in common, and then on the opposite side, you know, the contrasting things where I know he is, and I think this part of this is due to, you know, the industry he works in, but he is very, you know, neat, free, clean. I honestly hate cleaning. I don't do it near as much as I should, but and then, you know, he is very, you know, calm, non-confrontational, you know, always trying to find peaceful solutions. And me, I'm a little bit more hot-headed about things. I hear folks blaming it all on my roots, you know, I showed up in boots. No, it's, you know, I've gotten better about that aspect, about not flying off the handle. I've almost become a master of the gray rock method with the karmic, but he is very, you know, reserved, find a peaceful solution to things, and then, you know, we've got so much in common, but at the same time we have so many things that we offset each other with, like the he reminds me of certain things that I need to do better to take care of myself, and I did the same for him. Like, he works so much, he's stressed out all the time, even though he does say, no, I'm fine, I'm not stressing me out. I call bullshit on him all the time on it. I'm like, I know better, but we have that little, it's home. Well, honestly, I don't know how else to explain it. You know, home is not always four walls. You know, this is not home to me. It hasn't been for a long time. Sometimes it's two arms and a heartbeat. You know, it's just how it is. Atlantis life, and I don't remember anything really about the Celtic. I know I was at Stonehenge, but I don't know a whole lot about the aspects of that one. And that kind of, I was talking to my twin, and we were talking about, because, you know, he's lived in England, and I told him, we were talking about, you know, travel. He was talking about how beautiful Scotland and Ireland are, and I made a comment about wanting to see Stonehenge. And he really doesn't like Stonehenge, so I'm thinking maybe either something happened to him or he witnessed something happen to me that is just, he subconsciously holds on to that bad memory to where he doesn't like Stonehenge right now. I mean, I think we could probably work through that and help him figure that out, but I'm not going to push that until, you know, we really have the time and the quality time to work through something like that, not just through text message. Okay. And then the other part of the title, you know, the karmic letter. Monday morning, I had written out a letter sometime last week to the karmic, basically telling him, yes, I do want the divorce. And I went to sleep that night, or my Sunday night, left it on the bed, on his side of the bed, And he woke up, and whenever he got home early Monday morning. They only had to work like 8 hours or something. But he got home and he started reading it, and shit kind of hit the fan. Not as explosive as I figured it would have been. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Thank you, Papa. But he completely skipped over some of the main points of the letter, like the part where I addressed the fact that if what was done to me would have been done to our daughter, how would you have felt? What would you have expected her to do? He completely skipped over, completely ignored that part. But, latched on to other parts of it, like started asking me, well, what do you regret? What, things like that. And I told him a couple of things that, yes, I know I did wrong. I'm not completely blameless in all of this. I know that. I said, I can own up to that. I can be a stubborn, hard-headed, hateful bitch at times. And I know this. But a lot of it comes from being pushed and pushed and pushed and, lied to and, but I've learned to not react to things like that. But we got to talking again about the things that he's done, the busted doors, all that. And basically it boiled down to him saying, well, I paid for the door. I'll do what the fuck I want to with it. Would you rather me go out and beat the shit out of somebody else? I said, no, actually, I'd rather you learn to control yourself. But he's not going to do that. Monday morning, I called because water pump went out on the Durango. It's been trying to go out for a while, but it finally crapped completely out Friday. And so Monday morning, after all this arguing and everything, and he's texting me, what you doing? Fuck you. I don't want to talk to you right now. Leave me alone. But I called the dealership because we actually bought the extended warranty on the Durango when we bought it, and I'm glad we did. I called the dealership, told them what was going on, and they said, we'll bring it in around 10 o'clock. We'll run diagnostics on it, and we'll go from there. So I woke Karmic back up. I said, well, can you go out there and, clean the Durango out before we take it into the dealership? Because there were several empty dip cans, Coke bottles. Yes, there was a couple of bottles in there that were mine, but the majority of the stuff that was in there was his. I said, can you go out there and clean it out? He said, well, I didn't think you cared what other people thought. I'm like, do you really want them getting in that? It's bad enough it's covered in coal dust, a white vehicle covered in coal dust. And he flat looked at me. He said, well, if you want it clean so fucking bad, go do it yourself. Excuse me? He ended up going out there and cleaning it out, but huffing and puffing the whole fucking time. And then we took it in there. They ran the diagnostics, which I'd already told them. I said, my dad's already looked at it. We already know that it is the water pump. And they called me back and said, yes, the water pump has gone out. They said the serpentine belt, which I think it was the original part, the vehicle's like a 2013. So it was the original belt on it, which it probably would have needed to be replaced anyways, but it was saturated with antifreeze from where, the water pump had been dripping on it and slinging it all over the motor. And they said that it was throwing a thermostat code. And I asked her, I'm dealing with all this. The Karmic's already back to sleep. And I asked her, I said, well, is the thermostat absolutely necessary right now? Because the belt and the thermostat were not covered under the warranty. She said, I don't think the thermostat's necessary right now. She said, but once you get it fixed, you may want to, for a little bit, keep an eye on the temperature gauge just in case. And so I said, okay. I said, just go ahead and replace the serpentine belt. I said, just hold off on the thermostat for right now. Yeah, I just noticed she said that. I'm sorry. I said, hold off on the thermostat for right now. So I called my dad, and I told my dad what was going on, because I told him I would, because he would have fixed it for me had it not been for two reasons. He was living in Florida, and we weren't sure if he could fix it and then not completely void out our warranty, because he's not a licensed mechanic. I mean, he could probably do the job better than half the mechanics around here, but yeah. So I called him and I told him about it, and he told me, he said, well, why don't you call, AutoZone Advanced, there's a couple auto parts stores around here, and see if you can get the belt for cheaper. And, he said, well, first call the dealership and see if they'll allow that. And I told the Karmic, I said, well, can you call them and double check and make sure that they'd allow that? And, of course, he flat fucking refused. He said, they're not going to allow you to do that. And, blah, blah, typical bitching because he was in a bad mood already. So we didn't end up calling the auto parts, but more than likely the part wouldn't have been in stock. We wouldn't have been able to get it till the next day anyway. But he's sitting there saying, they're not going to allow you to do that. And, okay, fine. And when we actually got the ticket after the service part, it wasn't going to be that much cheaper to get the belt at an auto parts store than it was to get it through them anyways. And I think it was, a Mopar belt. But when we got there and we were paying for it, and I was talking to her about it, how I had priced a belt somewhere else, she said, well, I didn't even think to tell you this yesterday. She said, you could have brought in your own parts and we would have put them on there for you. And I just kind of cut my eyes at the Karmic. He said, well, I guess I'm fucking wrong again. Hello, there's no guessing to that. You were wrong. You decided to, take it upon yourself thinking you knew how they would work about it, and now you're pissed off because you were proven wrong. There's, well, how about, instead of getting pissed off, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong, but no, he decided he wanted to bitch about it. And then later, it was actually Monday, we were waiting for the kids to get home. We were sitting here actually talking. And he asked me, he said, well, I told him, I said, I've applied to a couple of different places. I said, I applied Toyota here. And another place that he knows some guys that actually work there now, that they used to work at a different place together. And he said, well, they're not hiring right now. But I said, I got the ability to apply for this through Indeed. I said, they had just posted this, the other day. I said, they are looking for, and he started bitching. Then he said, I forgot, I don't know shit. I don't have people that work there. Well, guess who got a phone call today from this exact place that he says was not hiring? How about I call him tomorrow? So I told him about that, and he's like, oh, I guess that's a good thing, because he knows. And in the letter I said, yes, you were right in the fact that I am looking for a job, so I am able to leave. I am able to support my boys. And he's just, and I know he's going to try to sabotage it at every turn, even though he's going to bitch, you need a job, but he's going to do everything he can to sabotage me being able to put money back for myself. Saying that right now. But like I said, I thank Michael that it didn't go any worse than, it could have gotten a lot worse, quite honestly. I had to tell him a couple of times to lower his voice because our 13-year-old, his room is right on the other side of this wall. So I had to tell him a couple of times to lower his voice, and he said, why the fuck should I was like, we have a son that is sleeping right on the other side of that wall. He has school. Lower your voice. He didn't like that one. But definitely things are shifting for a lot of people that think we're being, Spirit is basically saying, okay, you're trying to stay in your comfort zone. You're not wanting to move like you should. We're going to give you a little nudge so you'll do what you need to do. But we are going to, almost 20 minutes in. Hopefully people are patient enough and learn that I do talk. I say that I feel like I say this in every video, but I am very experience based, and there's good reason, because the whole reason for me starting this channel, okay, baby, is to help. Take these maybe shuffle. Somebody else that might be going through this, hopefully, see the red flags before it gets to the point where it is in mine. So yes, I am going to talk about it. If you don't like it, there's plenty of other readers out there that will cater to your needs straight into the reading, just cut and dry. This is what it is. This is what's going on. No, that's not me. That's give me one for how he's doing, because I know that was a message for me. That's not how I do things. That's not. I mean, even if you look at my Instagram, my Gemini Twin Ascension Instagram, it's the same way. I talk about what's going on with me more than I do, the card readings. Because, and apparently that was supposed to sacrifice. Okay. For some reason we have Thor from, no, that one wasn't, that one stuck to the back of the other one, so we have 3 there. Let's see. Isis. That he gets very snippy about everything right now, and it's just, I'm not familiar with that one, so I'm going to get the book out for when I get to that. Okay, we want these this time, and this. The equivalent of a siren for me. Okay. I'd ask if you heard that, but you'd have to be pretty deaf not to have heard that, and that was a definite warning mug from him. Something he didn't like. There's that. I forgot to say that one. Yeah, something irritated him very badly. I had a thing pop up in my YouTube, my personal YouTube feed earlier today. It was Irish baby names and how to pronounce them, and I had to laugh. I mean, the Karmic does have Irish roots, but the spellings and the pronunciations are so far off. I'm saying there's no way I'd ever be able to pronounce those. And then I'm sitting and thinking, I was sitting there watching it. It was really interesting. And I'm sitting there in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, when this is done, I'm going to search and see if they've got a video, of Scottish baby names. My twin has ancestral ties to Scotland. He learned to speak English in Scotland. And sure enough, after the Irish baby names video was done, the very next video that popped up was a Scottish baby name song. So that was kind of a thank you. But my twins' boys have fairly given, that's too many, given, where he's from, his boys have fairly common names. So, and I finally recently learned the name of his youngest son. I've known the name of his oldest boy for a while, which I honestly, when he first told me, kind of held my breath for a second when he said it, because I don't know if I've talked about this on here before. Wow, too many. But I've been working on a novel for over 2 years now, and the main character's name, the main guy character's name in this novel is the same name as his son, his oldest son. So it just kind of, little synchronicities pop up here and there, and I have been told that some of it is prophetic writing. Okay, there was a reason that one popped out. So we will. We're going to use one I don't use a whole lot, my Celtic Dragon Tarot. And it's got some really pretty cards in it. Come here, open, please. Thank you. And in this one, you will see me refer to the book, because two of the suits are reversed. In a typical tarot, the swords are air, and the swords and air are reversed. They're not the same in both. And like in a traditional tarot deck, the wands are the air and swords are the other. Fire. My brain's not wanting to focus right now. Somebody walking down the sidewalk. I hate living in the middle of town. I really, really do. I miss living in the country. Okay. Funny. I say miss living in the country and we have Jarrett move. But once things, once I do move forward with everything, Brad, please hush. That I know is because there's somebody walking around outside, because I can hear them talking. I know that, I will end up having to get an apartment, because I don't think I'll be able to afford renting a house in the country, and I'm not. Ophelia was talking more ago. She said, well, why don't you keep the house? I don't want to keep this house. He can have it, because I can't afford to fix everything that's wrong with it. We've lived here for going on 4 years, and very little has been fixed, been worked on. And like I was telling the Karmic when we were talking, we were arguing, talking, whatever you want to call it, the other day. And it's not that we have never had the money to fix the stuff, because when we bought the house, there was still, we used his 401k money from one of the coal mines, and we didn't pay, considering how much most houses around here, we paid next to nothing for this house. And we still had a substantial amount left in his 401k from the mine that we could have done a lot to this house with that money. Where it all went, I I don't know. I mean, and I'm not going to put all the blame on him. I know, you know, there was things that I probably bought, which I don't remember, that I probably didn't have to. You know, I'm not going to put all the blame on that one on him, because it was quite a bit of money. He couldn't have spent it all on his own. But just even small things that could be fixed for next to nothing never seem to get fixed. Um, we've got plastic as a window on one of the front doors because one of the kids with their backpacks, it was very thin glass to begin with. One of the kids with their backpacks, broke the glass part of the way, and then Karmic, in one of his trips one day, went to leave for work, slammed the door, and busted the rest of the glass the rest of the way out. Hello, Melissa. I just noticed that you were on here. Okay, yeah, it was more than 10 minutes ago. I'm sorry, but there's so much. The small things that could be fixed around this house, like we could go to a hardware store and get the right size piece of plexiglass for that window. Wouldn't take nothing, I could fix it. Pop the seal that held the original glass in there off. Put the new, put the plexiglass in there and put that, reseal it. Put the wood piece that holds it in place back around it. It's not hard to fix. But, it hasn't been done. There's somebody knocking at my door, and it's 9:30 at night, and I'm not answering it. Okay. Leave me alone, please. Hang on. Yeah, I'm taking lunch. I'm hungry. I really don't care. Okay. So we'll get into the cards, and like I said, for the Gods and Titans, we had 3 pop out, but I honestly think one of them was from my own, masculine, and it's Hypnos, sleep. He knows that I have not been sleeping well lately, and that's one thing he is always on me on. One of the things he's on me about, you're not sleeping enough, you're not eating right, and I know that's him, because I can feel him, I know he's here. Telling me, honor your body. If you need sleep, sleep. If you're hungry, eat. If you just need to rest, rest. And then we have organization, which he's saying it's time to start putting things in order. Do what you need to do to get where you need to be going. Put your ducks in a row, so to speak. And then we have sacrifice. There are, and this is for both twins, to get where we need to be going, there's going to be things falling away that, when they do fall away, it's going to hurt a little bit, but it's what needs to happen. And then we have the death card from the Celtic dragon. There's things that are falling away. There's just endings that need to happen. They're going to hurt, but, and then we have, it's going to hurt, but it's going to be fair in the way. And I find it kind of funny that there's a Libra on this card. It's the Queen of Swords, fairness. it's going to be done the right way. It's going to be, divine, right path, right way. It's going to be fair. Everybody's going to get what they need, is what I'm hearing. And then we have magic. It says, make a wish, believe in miracles. Magic surrounds you. Believe in miracles. Know what you deserve. Know that it's coming. Think of it, be open to receiving. Think of it in a happy way, and it's going to come to you. And then we have be supportive. Make a genuine effort to show you care. And this is something that a lot of the masculines are struggling with. They're learning, but they really struggle with showing that affection, making it clear that, yes, they do love us, because a lot of them were not shown how to love growing up, or, what have you. It's hard, but they're working on it. And then I can't even pronounce it. From the feminine side, we have the goddess of all that flows. I can't pronounce her name, honestly. It says, I am the ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. And this was just, talking about the manifestations. Think of it happily. And, don't exactly think of, the object that you want. Think of the feeling you'll have once you have that. Like, for me, this is just an example. For me, it's the peace and the easiness, the calmness of being there with my twin. The relaxed. There's really not a whole lot of effort in being there. It's just calm. There's no fighting. There's laughter. There's fun. Or, another example is the Durango being fixed. There was a sense of relief that knowing that it was taken care of, that it was running the way it was supposed to be. And when I was dealing with that, that's what I was feeling, I don't want anything bad to happen to the karmic. I really don't. And, knowing that he was driving something that could potentially break down. And I personally have a severe phobia about breaking down on the side of a road, on the side of a highway or anywhere. And that stems from when my second to youngest son was, he wasn't even a month old. And the van we had a broken gas gauge. Karmic ran out of gas on his way to work. He wasn't far from work, so he walked on to work to get a gas can to bring the van on into work. And while he was gone and the van was sitting, in the emergency lane well off the highway. But while he was gone from the van, a semi just ran right over it. The truck driver was reaching behind his seat for a Coke can out of his cooler that was behind the seat, and he kind of veered off the road. And by the time he realized what he had done, there was already cars in the lane that he should have been in, and it was either, jerk the rig back up onto the highway and potentially run over a moving vehicle and, big, pile up on the highway, or run over this van that was on the side of the road. So I have a severe phobia about breaking down on the side of a road. And so even, the thought of him breaking down, it worries me. So the relief of knowing that the Durango was fixed, that wasn't going to happen. It helped push to where, the manifestation of it being fixed came through fairly quickly. So let's see, what do we have? We have Ten of Cups and the Queen of Cups. I'm going to look at something. Because like I said, this deck's got some different meanings, and I don't use this deck a whole lot. And they don't put them in the right order, so it's a little harder to. Oh yeah, they do. Queen. Strong psychic feelings indicates feminine influence with strong, loving, protective nature. Be a time of quiet contentment with love. A period of strong psychic feelings makes you more aware of spiritual goals. That is the feminine telling the masculine, we feel you. Te siento. I feel you. Te veo. I see you. I know what's going on. Te siento. Yes, I feel him now. They can protest till their face turns blue. I'm not stressed. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. But when the feminine can feel it, in her heart, in her, she just knows. So you'd be better off, honoring the fact that yes, she knows, yes, she, feels what you're feeling. Just, acknowledging it, even if you don't want to talk about it, masculine. Acknowledge. Yes, I am a little bit stressed out. No, I really don't want to go into details on it because my masculine's that way. He really is. He will acknowledge, yes, there's something going on, but he will not go into more detail on it. But, just acknowledging that what the feminine is feeling is not wrong will go a long way in helping bridge that, the gap that is sometimes there especially when one or the other, goes quiet for a little while. It helps bridge that gap and understanding that we're not crazy. We feel it, we know it. But we also have the Ten of Cups, which is contentment, new beginnings. We want that happy life with the masculine. We want that ease, like I was saying, that ease, that relaxation, that, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just contentment, it's belonging, knowing, it goes into the song that came up at the beginning, home. We're working towards that. We want them to work towards that and understand that. And then we have be authentic, be real and true to who you are and how you feel. I don't hide it from my masculine. He knows how much I care for him. I know he feels it too. Whenever I send out those loving vibes, I know he feels it. That's like I've said before, we don't say those words very often. And, there's reasons behind that. But we feel each other, and I don't hide it. I make it no secret. He knows that I love him. I am working on letting him in on, other aspects of myself because, it's really hard through text message and everything to truly understand some things about a person, but I try to let him in on things. He knows that I can be a little aggressive. He knows I can, be a little hot-headed at times. He's, just in like whenever that fight happened back in August with the Karmic, and I was set to run. My twin knows this. I was set to just take off and run to him. But it wouldn't have been fair to him. It wouldn't have been fair to my kids for me to do that. And my twin, I trusted him enough to let him see, how hurt I was by what was happening. But he kept me grounded. That's not a good thing to do. He really kept me from making a bad situation worse. And, Lord, listen, be nice. This says prosperity. A gift of money is on its way. Your income is increasing. Manage your finances with love. I honestly think this should have been a message from the masculine to the feminine, because managing my finances is not something I do very well, obviously. But that's a little bit of, for both twins, I'd say, be cautious on how you're spending your money. Yes, it's okay to treat yourself, but it's something that I've tried to get in the habit of. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it all. And I've been trying and trying and trying for years to get the karmic to understand that. Just because we have the money, even if we, can't really pay a full bill right now, just because that money's not going towards that doesn't mean we need to go blow it on something else. I'm guilty. Have I done that before? Yes, I am. I'm just as guilty of that as well. But managing your money wisely, don't go out and just because you have it, just go blow it on whatever. Okay, and now we have the messages from Spirit to the twins. Let's see what we have here. We have Arrow, surround yourself with protective energy, which I know I've been doing that a lot since I wrote that letter out, because I knew that there was things that could, go bad, very bad. And then we have, and this adds up to an 11. We have physical touch. A tender touch can mean so much. And many of the twins are longing for that. They're longing to, be physically present with their twin. And it's not just in a sexual nature. It can just be, a touch of the hand, just holding their hand, or just a simple hug. It can go a long way. And then we have the Chariot, movement. Things are moving forward. Obviously, with mine, they really are. They are moving forward. And then we have the Moon, concealment. Certain things are coming to light. And personally, I think this is more on my twin side. I think he's learning some things, past behaviors the karmic was doing. She's doing again. And I honestly think that's what it is. He's learning that's what's going on. And I think that's why he's a little quiet again. And then we have intuition. Listen to the whispers of your heart. Use divination tools. Hello, cards. Yeah. To help you decide. Trust your intuition no matter what. And that's why, because I wrote the letter to the karmic earlier last week, and I kept putting off, giving it to him, putting off giving it to him. And at first it was to protect my car, honestly, because that was when the Durango first broke down, and he had to drive my car to work. And quite honestly, I didn't trust him not to destroy it if he read that letter. So I put it off, and I actually waited till Sunday night, Monday morning to give it to him, which he was off Monday and Tuesday. He just went back to work tonight. So we had those 2 days to try to, hash things out. And it was just because that's what I was guided to do. I had the letter here. I knew it was here, and I'm honestly quite sure he threw it away because it was on a table over at the foot of the bed, and it's not there anymore. But guess who made a copy of it? So he can't say, well, I never said, you didn't say that, or you didn't write that. I have a copy. Oof. But, trust your intuition on things. If you're feeling, wait, there's reasons for it. Or if you feel like pushed to do it, do it. Spirit has a way of protecting you and doing things, in a way that will be for your highest good. And it's not just, with that letter. There's been other times that they've stopped things from happening. They've just various things. Like, for example, there was one time I was supposed to take my now 17-year-old son's girlfriend home, and my car wouldn't start. We tried jumping it wouldn't start. So my daughter ended up coming over and, taking her home. And on the way home, they were far enough away that they didn't hit it, but they saw a couple of deer on the highway that they almost hit. That had I left when I originally intended to take her home, I would have ran over the deer. And I have a convertible. That I'm pretty sure the deer would have shredded the top to it, which could have been quite dangerous if I would have hit the deer. There's all sorts of different little ways that spirit protects us. I mean, you get mad because you're delayed, can't find your keys or something. There's reasons for it. Yes. What? Hang on. But that's it for now. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.